Thank you so much. Me llamo Tomás Pérez. Estoy muy orgulloso de nominar el próximo gobernador del estado de Nueva York, Andrew Cuomo. My name is Tom Perez, and I am very proud to endorse and nominate your next governor of the great state of New York, Andrew Cuomo, and the next lieutenant governor, my good friend, Kathy Hochul. You know, folks, it's great to be here with my friend Byron Brown, the mayor of my birth town, Buffalo, New York, the first African-American mayor in the history of Buffalo, New York, and one of the best mayors in America. Thank you, Mayor, for everything you're doing. You know, I grew up in New York. I'm proud of it. I live my Buffalo values every single day. My brother lived right down the block from Kathy and Bill Hochul. I was proud to speak at Bill's swearing in for U.S. Attorney under Barack Obama. And I'm proud every time I come here to New York because this is where my family got its start. You see, I'm Buffalo-Dominican. My parents came here from the Dominican Republic. They settled in Buffalo because of the similarities in the weather. But in truth, my mother settled in Washington Heights, 152nd and Riverside Drive, the Riviera. They came here because they had to flee a brutal dictator. And New York City gave them that home. And my mother's 4 of her brothers served with distinction as part of America's greatest generation. And my father did the same as a legal immigrant serving in the United States Army. And they settled in Buffalo, New York. And I was 12 years old when my father died. And they called Buffalo the city of good neighbors for good reason. Because my surrogate father, he was a Teamster. He taught me that when the labor movement succeeds, America succeeds. When the labor movement succeeds, the middle class succeeds. And that's what they taught me. They taught me, and what I learned in Buffalo, I bring those Buffalo values, and those are New York State values every day. We care about everyone. We fight for everyone. We never back down. We never give up. We always make sure the ladder's down for others. We understand that if you blow out your neighbor's candle, it doesn't make your candle shine any brighter. We're making sure every candle can shine as brightly as possible. And what I learned from growing up in a place like Buffalo is that, you know what, your job isn't just your paycheck, my friends. Your job, it gives you your identity. The dignity of work is what it's all about. It's not just dollars, it's dignity. Those are the things I learned. And I never thought in a million years that a Pell Grant kid from Buffalo could have the honor of being your labor secretary, could have the honor of being the head of the Civil Rights Division, could have the honor of working for the likes of President Obama, and could have the honor of getting to know Andrew Cuomo and Kathy Hochul. Because, you know, I've known them for a long time, as I mentioned. I had the privilege of working in the Clinton administration. And, you know, as I said before, my brother lived down the block from Bill and Kathy. We knew Kathy when she was fighting in local government. We knew Kathy, and we're proud of Kathy when she served in Congress. And we are so proud of what Kathy is doing as your lieutenant governor. And I'm so proud to nominate her moving forward. You have a fantastic lieutenant governor. And, you know, I've not only admired Andrew Cuomo, I have admired the Cuomo family since my youth. And I've admired what they stood for and what they fought for since I was a kid. You know, we often have debates about what wing of the Democratic Party we belong to. And I used to work, my original political mentor was a guy named Ted Kennedy. Ted Kennedy, the liberal lion of the Senate. He taught me one thing. He said, Tom, when someone asks you what wing of the Democratic Party you're from, tell them you're from the accomplishments wing of the Democratic Party because you want to get stuff done. Now, he used a different S word than stuff, but I know that Governor Cuomo never swears, so I didn't want to use that word in this company. But you know, what I've grown to love about Andrew Cuomo is he understands that governance isn't about speechifying. It's about making a real difference in people's lives. New Yorkers don't want rhetoric, they want results. That's what Andrew Cuomo has delivered. Results. Results that have improved people's lives. Marriage equality. A $15 minimum wage. One of the strongest paid leave laws in the United States. When I was labor secretary, I remember traveling in January, I think of 2016, here in New York, when the governor said, we're going to do two things this year. We're going to do paid leave and $15 minimum wage. And I thought to myself, well, if you get one, I'd call that a pretty darn good result. And you all got both, thanks to Governor Cuomo, Lieutenant Governor, and people in this room. Thank you for your leadership there. Some of the most meaningful anti-sexual harassment laws in the United States came from New York State. One of the first states to move forward and expand Medicaid after the Supreme Court decision, New York State. Fighting for unions, understanding that when unions succeed, the middle class succeeds. That's Andrew Cuomo. That's why he signed that law into place. Protecting union membership in those public sector workplaces. And make no mistake about it, the Republicans want to end the labor movement. They believe that, you know what? They don't want you to have a seat at the table. My good friend Lee Saunders always said, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And Republicans want the labor movement to be on the menu. And Andrew Cuomo and Kathy Hochul and all the Democrats in this room are saying hell no to that. And we're fighting for the labor movement. We've been doing it. Investing in education. Andrew Cuomo and Kathy Hochul have been doing that. One of my favorite visits to New York was to Brooklyn to a school called P-Tech. 6-year high school gave opportunities for young people to get access to the skills they need to punch their ticket to the middle class. It was such an impressive program. President Obama came. We expanded it through investments at the Department of Labor. And the state that has expanded it the most in the United States is the great state of New York. Putting those values into action. Making sure that higher ed is accessible to everybody. Making sure we eliminate the term educational mortgage from the lexicon of our young people. Making sure we're fighting for dreamers. Los soñadores son una categoría de personas que son tan importantes para el futuro de Nueva York. Andrew Cuomo cada día está trabajando, está luchando para los soñadores. He will continue to fight for the dreamers because he understands that Lady Liberty is right at our door. And he understands that there's this other New Yorker in Washington that's giving a bad name to New York values, and we're not going to let that happen, are we? No, we're not. He understands the critical importance of creating jobs, and jobs you have created. One of my favorite trips as labor secretary was to central New York, to your nanotech corridor. And I remember talking to a mother there, and she said, you know what, Tom? My biggest fear as a mom was that my kids were going to have to leave when they grew up. And I don't have that fear anymore because we're growing jobs right here. I can see my grandchildren. That's what governance is about, results. And you've been delivering results. And you've been delivering results that have made people's lives better. That's why Andrew Cuomo and Kathy Hochul are charter members of the accomplishments wing of the Democratic Party. And that's why I'm proud to endorse them. I'm proud to endorse your Attorney General nominee. I'm proud to endorse Tom DiNapoli. I'm proud to move forward with you. And you know what, folks? We've got a lot of work to do. We've got a lot of work to do, but I'm here to tell you we can do it. Across this country, the new Democratic Party, we are organizing everywhere. We are mobilizing everywhere, and we're making history everywhere. Just 2 days ago in Georgia, the first African-American woman was nominated to be a governor. And folks, en Texas, la primera latina en los Estados Unidos fue nominada para gobernador. So in one day, we made history in 2 states. The first Latina in Texas, the first African-American woman in Georgia. And you know what, folks? We're continuing to win everywhere, and we will continue to win everywhere. 9 days ago in Pennsylvania, we saw tremendous activity. At the beginning of 2018, Democrats held 5 out of the 18 House seats. In the end of the year, we could hold as many as 13 out of the 18 House seats. That's how we take back America. And we can do the same things here in New York. We've got more work to do, but we need all hands on deck, because this is a where were you moment in our nation's journey to form a more perfect union. We can reclaim seats in Congress. We've got to put Chris Collins out of work, my friends, because Chris Collins and ethics are mutually exclusive terms. I sued him when I was the head of the Civil Rights Division. He was a terrible county executive. He's a terrible member of Congress, and we need to defeat him, and we can win elsewhere in this state. And the key to our success is organizing everywhere and leading with our values everywhere. That's exactly what Andrew Cuomo and Kathy Hochul have been doing throughout their tenure. So from Buffalo to Brooklyn and the Bronx, from Syracuse to Staten Island, from Utica to Uniondale, we can win when we organize here, folks. I remember coming here with Jay Jacobs, who I know is here somewhere, right in front. I remember he introduced me to a woman named Christine Pellegrino. They said she couldn't win, an educator, I think in the 9th Assembly District, if my memory serves me. They said she couldn't win. It was beat red Trump country. What happened? She won. Because she organized. She's a great candidate, and she led with her values. That's how we win in New York. That's why Andrew Cuomo's going to win again. And the most important thing we can do is continue this movement forward. Because you know what, folks? This is a where were you moment in our nation's journey to form a more perfect union. And New York State, this isn't simply an election of importance to the great residents of New York State. This is an election of importance to America, because you have been setting the tone of what we can do when we have progressive leaders, what we can do, and imagine what we can do more when we take over the state Senate in New York and have a working majority. Imagine what else we can do when we do that. And I know we will do that this year when we organize and organize everywhere. And I want to make sure you know healthy competition. You know, your folks in Pennsylvania are working hard to make sure we take back some House seats. And I know you'll do the same here, because it is an all-hands-on-deck enterprise. And I am confident that 2018, the year of the woman across America, the year in which our progressive values come back, the year in which we send a very strong message across the country. Somos los Estados Unidos. No somos los Estados divididos. We are the United States of America, not the divided states of America. And an individual, and that is why, my friends, I leave you with this is a quote that someone said at a convention a while ago. Here we are at this convention to remind ourselves where we come from and to claim the future for ourselves and for our children. Today, our great Democratic Party, which saved this nation from depression, from fascism, from racism, from corruption, is called upon to do it again. This time to save the nation from confusion and division, from the threat of fiscal disaster, and most of all, from a fear of nuclear holocaust. This is not going to be easy. We must win the case on the merits. We must get the American people and the American public to look past the glitter, beyond the showmanship, to the reality, the hard substance of things. We must unite so that the entire nation can unite. The remarkable words of a remarkable man, Mario Cuomo, in 1984. A remarkable man who not only was a remarkable leader, but a remarkable father, whose son has followed in his footsteps and built a New York that we can be proud of, and I know his father is proud of. And that is why I am so proud to have endorsed this governor to be your next governor for a third term, because we know there's unfinished business. There always is in our journey to form a more perfect union. And there is no one I can think of, as I introduce our next speaker, that can talk about the unfinished business of America more eloquently than the Vice President of the United States. He'll always be my Vice President. I present to you Vice President Joe Biden.